Welcome, viewers. This is Wadidja. What did you say? What did you do? What did you think? Coming to you with another commentary here on Marvel Spider-Man by Insomniac Games. What we have here today is me leveling my Spider-Man here up to 350 health. Essentially, you know, 150 levels of XP, you know, of a grind at 25,000 points a pop. And, you know, essentially what that gives you is 1 extra health point and 1% extra melee for each 25,000 points that you gain. You know, I've provided you know, commentary on earlier levels of the situation, and you know, for me, the reason why I'm leveling my Spider-Man up is to, you know, have his effectiveness at a certain rate for me. You know, when you reach maximum level at 50 plus, you know, you get your 200 health and everything, and well, you know, that's well and good, and you know, I'm not they don't really give you a calculation for what your melee is at, but at the same time, for me, I really prefer to, you know, take out the enemies in less hits than, you know, 5, 6, or 7 hits, which seemed to be the case. Oops, I didn't mean to use that. With you know, taking out the enemies on superior level. And you know, I'm looking forward to the ultimate level of things when the new game plus comes out, and so you know, I basically wanted to make sure my Spider-Man was up to par for the situation, because you know, I just like to be a little bit more efficient in the way that Spider-Man takes out things. You know, I guess, you know, he's pulling his punches and all that, so it's an aspect of, you know, having the knowledge to hit them with less hits, and you know, essentially that involves leveling up your Spider-Man to a superior level.
Leave your shoes at the door.
And you know, what if you noticed, as I've taken some damage here, you know, somewhat purposely, I'm not really trying to avoid you know, all the damage when I do these videos. Some of them anyway. Especially where I'm sort of highlighting the new level of things, you know, just so that myself, you know, when I look back on these things, as well as whomever is viewing it, can, you know, view, you know, what it's like to receive damage and to, you know, give out damage at this level of at this superior level of things. So, you know, right now, you know, I started the video at, you know, 340 health here, because the next, you know, after I finish this, he'll be at, you know, 350 health, which, you know, like I said, is 150 health points above your standard max level that you receive during the basic gameplay of things. And you know, he's going to receive that extra 1% to bring him up to 150% melee. And you know, no matter what your strength level is, as I just showed you there, you can't punch through certain stuff, like the guys with the batons or enemies with shields. And as you can see by the damage that was taken, you know, you still mitigate damage the same,
locked down, Captain.
Which is good, because you want to be able to still heal at the same rate.
Shots fired, so I've got officers inbound. Good
but
work.
you know, you just have a greater pool to work from when it comes to the damage that you can receive. Oh darn, I didn't mean to start that just yet. I want to go ahead and show you my build. I'll back out in a second here. But yeah, when this pops up, you'll see that he's at 350 health. The points from the previous mission pulled him up. But let me back out of here for a quick second. Yeah, and I want to show you the build as well before I continue. But yeah, it's, you know, commenting on the improvements to the mission. It's a good thing. It's just that I almost want to feel like it's not quite enough yet for me, oddly enough as it may seem. You know, yeah, he seems to be taking out things in this superior level here in about 2 to 3 hits for the most part. you know, shielded enemies and enemies that carry batons and things like that tend to be, you know, take an extra hit depending on how much force is generated with the attack. And, you know, the game does take that into account, like if you web swing into an enemy or from a greater distance than just, you know, standing or jumping, you do impact the enemy with greater force and take off more damage. And, you know, a lot of times I don't always want to have to be able to pre-plan or prejudge that particular point to take out an enemy as efficiently as I'd like to. So it seems like I'll probably be going up at least another 50 to feel satisfied with this superior level. But the thing is like, you know, what will be necessary for the ultimate when that comes out, I don't know, but I would like to hope that, you know, at least 400 health and, you know, an extra, what is that at that point in time, 200% extra melee will be sufficient for me to feel adequate in regard to the Spider-Man I'd like to play. I doubt it, but at least it might be enough to get me my initial playthrough, which I want to do to familiarize myself with everything off camera. And so by the time I do my, you know, on-camera recording for preserving the memory of the experience, I like to be, you know, fit enough to, you know, to play out Spider-Man the way I like to, and primarily that's being able to take out enemies within 2 to 3 hits. Oh, there we're seeing the level up. There it is, extra 1% melee. I thought it already processed it, but because I backed out the mission, I guess it still was able to show you that it leveled up. But yeah, so yeah, and then also too, I'm gonna run here this next mission here at this 350 health, and you'll see fully what I'm talking about as far as durability, or, well, like I said, durability is still the same, but you'll see how the damage impacts this much health as far in its pool, and also to the melee damage and its efficiency. I'll also to pull up my previous, well, my recorded game save, where my Spider-Man character, I believe, is at level 205, and you know, I can demonstrate as well what the difference between the two of 150% extra melee versus, you know, just 5% extra melee, as well as, you know, like 205 health pool versus just 350 health pool. I did a little bit of practice, a few practice runs just to get the feel for myself again as to how it was, and I don't know, it's interesting, Gambit. I mean, like I said, at the moment, with the way that I'm feeling about the melee damage and everything, I feel like it's not a huge difference. I mean, definitely it is, and it's definitely more proficient and efficient at taking out the enemies, as you can just see there with that melee damage. You know, but it's interesting. You'll see when I play it out, the feel of it isn't that much different. Because, you know, I don't know. You'll see what I mean. Because you can see, like, I just had to hit that guy with about 3-4 times, I think. You know, when I go to that 200 level, you'll notice that it's not much different. You know, might be 3 or 4, you know, 2 or 3 more hits, perhaps, maybe even less, depending on how much force was generated by the blow. But, you know, the thing is that the one nice thing about all this is that it does provide a different level of comfort when it comes to taking damage and dishing it out, for sure. And yeah, am I definitely in the direction of the Spider-Man that I'd like to run with? Yeah, for sure. So, you know, it's been worth it for me. But again, you know, depending on your skill set and how much you like to bang on the enemies, at, you know, any one of them at one time, might depend on how much worth it is for you to level up your Spider-Man just like this. And, you know, too, there is the overtime thing, like, depending on how long you play, and, you know, a lot of these things could come naturally, you know, as far as the strength of the character. That was well timed.
He webbed me.
But yeah, you can see by these gunshots and a few of the blows that have come through that you know, you're nowhere near in jeopardy with the situation as long as you try not to not to be their punching dummy. But yeah, so you know, I don't mind all the dynamics that go on with all the punching that you do on the enemy, but at the same time, you can string your combos along to the next enemy as long as it doesn't halt your combo with some type of a finisher situation, or and if it does, then well, you know, you took care of the enemy.
Down, Captain.
But still, you can acrobatically, you know, rebound between the enemies by, you know, timing in your X or your circle or your triangle button in between any one of your square hits, and of course direct your attacks in between any one of your attacks to continue to combo between enemies. But yeah, so I'll run another one here. But yeah, as you saw earlier when I put up the build there, I just want to do more of a traditional Spidey thing. I feel like the impact web doesn't take too much away from that point. You know,
you're in timeout.
It's enjoyable. Let me go ahead and run this with a little bit more focus. It took a little bit to take down. But yeah, on the other playthrough, I still left up the subtitles, and you know, you'll hear some of the you'll be able to read some of the dialogue that you might have overlooked or not heard fully because I've been talking. But yeah, it's a trip. It's been actually enjoyable with the dialogue and playing on the way it has. It varies. I mean, some of the scripts are definitely you know, repeatable, but they're still funny. They haven't gotten tired of them yet.
Spider-Man, turns out we've busted 4 illegal firearms dealers within a 3-block radius of that site.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply.
Yeah, let me focus here for a second. But yeah, the finishers to me too are I just love the cinematic, and to me it doesn't seem to take away from my feel of the Spidey, even though it's instant takedown guaranteed pretty much, because you got to work to accumulate the focus and maintain the focus by not being hit. So to me, within that skill set, you know, I appreciate the reward. But here come. Well, I tell you, when they get a lick in, they start talking some mad dirt too.
Welcome to the party. House rules. Leave your shoes at the door. Unless you're not wearing socks, in which case, buy some socks already.
But yeah, I'm trying to not do too many finishers and use the impact web too much so that you know, we can get a good view of the melee capabilities. And you know, a lot of times I'm trying to see the different moves that will get in on various different enemies besides always doing the slide back. Like these baton guys, you can come in with a kick and hitting a kick as you just saw and still get in an attack. But like the shielded guys, for example, you can only just slide under them. They can keep from being staggered with their shield to the point where you can't you know, get in a hit. So it's just best to slide under them. There's really no exception. Kind of like the brutes in a way. You got to do something, hit them with something, web them up to off balance them in order to really get your attack in. But once you do, you're good to go. Yeah, the throws are very effective, and what's nice is you can direct that too, you know, punch them in the air, double shoot them, and throw them at the individual, but better time so you're not getting hit by a stun grenade like that. But yeah, see, you can't do anything but come in on these guys with a kick and a hit like that, or either a time dodge under or away from them. And so yeah. And my preference is when I'm, playing without demonstrating like this, is to definitely take out any gunman and missile launcher dudes first, just to cut down the aspect of having to constantly avoid their fire. But I mean, it can be used to your advantage by allowing enemies to be taken out by friendly fire, as well as the fact that if you do what they call the perfect dodge, you can go ahead and follow with an instant finisher, which doesn't take away from your focus and helps build focus as well. But let's go ahead and save here for a quick second. Give me one moment. Okay, I think we're back here. And what we're going to do now is switch over to the other game save, and I'll do a comparison of at 205 health and just 5% extra melee. So let's see how this goes. One moment. It doesn't seem to interrupt the broadcast to do this at the moment, which is good. But yeah, as you'll see, negative 145% extra melee, essentially. It's not a huge difference. It's an interesting scaling to how, what that percentage is added to. We're kind of clueless as to what that is. And it doesn't seem like the enemies are scaling, although it appears as though it takes a significant amount to really reduce your the amount of times you have to lay in damage or hit them rather. But yeah, I'm almost theorizing that to get to this point with ultimate might have to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 health, if I'm lucky. Somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. But again, I'm hoping that, what I have and what I will acquire between now and when the ultimate level comes out will be sufficient for, an off the record playthrough to enjoy it and see what all it's doing, so I can give a good show of things when I give my recording.
To respond to a car crash.
But yeah, let's show here what this 205 looks like again. And same build as before. I'll pull that up for a quick second. Like I said here, we're doing the battle focus, the kinetic power cells, the webbed striker 2 times because it plays well off of the 2 forms of web shooting that I'm doing here in the game, and then of course the combat analyzer for extra XP. But yeah, the gadgets here, just your basic web shooters, that pulls off that webbed striker, and of course the impact does as well, and that's what we're using. The other things, in my opinion, kind of fall out the realm of your traditional Spider-Man and go more into your superior Spider-Man when Doc Ock took the role, and your more current things of Peter Parker, since he's taken advantage of what Doc Ock implemented. But they're more gadgety in a way that, like, even like this web bomb here, though it interplays with the web striker nicely, it's a deployable and lights up and blinks and things like that, so it kind of takes away from a more basic concept of Parker with the web shooters, and of course any type of a natural concept if you want to go with Spider-Man having glands as your thing, and perhaps one of the other outfits or whatever. But yeah, and of course the skills are all leveled up, without a doubt. So yeah, so let's go ahead with this 205. You can see in the upper left hand corner the health at 205.
They're just not very
like I said, that's really just plus 5 extra health and a plus 5% extra melee. But yeah, you can check out the subtitles.
Hey, sorry, did I startle you?
There he is! Open fire!
But yeah, I'm gonna try to not use my impact web. Let me switch back. It's just for the habit there. And so you can see the amount of hits that I'm doing is really not that much more than my previous situation. At least that's the feel that I have with it. You know, but yeah, one nice thing is you can really rebound and redirect your attack at any moment's notice and interrupt any attack with a dodge. You know, you don't ever have to feel like you're overcommitted. Now there is a point in time where if something is about to hit Spider-Man, you know, you're not going to be able to really move, or you're not going to be able to counter hit the situation with a melee hit or perhaps a simple jump. You're going to need to really do your Spidey dodge and circle type move. But yeah, you can see how the damage that he's taking is exactly the same as before. It's just that you have less of a health pool to pull from when it comes to, you know, coping with the damage. And again, that's beneficial because you want to be able to still heal and recover.
Dang,
from
looks like they called their buddies.
Yeah, at least I'm doing finishers. I've sometimes a habit from the grind, man. It's been a long one. So yeah, I mean, look at the way he's taking him out, even at 205 health. It's really not much of a difference. There is one, but not tremendous. You know, like I said, so that's reassuring to those that don't want to level up and or don't have the time or whatever, or just happy with, you know, the passive aspect of the leveling, and are confident that, you know, it's going to be enough and refreshing when they play a new game plus or they play the ultimate level. So see, that took about twice as many hits as I typically have been hitting. So, you know, it's, you know, like I said, there's a difference, but in the flow of the situation, it doesn't feel that different yet for me. I'm quite sure that once I hit 400, I'm going to have the exact, I'd like to hope I have the correct feel that I'd like to have for my Spider-Man ultimately in whichever level I play, whether it's, you know, ultimate or superior. I don't think that within the aspects that I'm planning, you know, that I'm playing the game here, that, you know, I'm going to surpass some point where it ceases to be enjoyable, where I'm just knocking everything out in one hit. Just the way that they gift to you this 1% damage, I don't think within the time that I'm going to be playing. Now, maybe once I finish with the ultimate level, my 2 playthroughs or whatever, like I said, my personal one and I record, yeah, it probably won't be that thrilling to want to play superior level, but yeah, I'll still have plenty of a challenge with the ultimate, I'm sure, for some time. You know, but you know, we'll see, because I'm sure they're going to make it, and I would like to hope they're going to make it enjoyable for everybody, regardless of what point they want to try the ultimate level out. I think that 9 out of 10, your skill set will have to be greater depending on, you know, how superior your Spider-Man is as far as,
place is locked down,
having
Captain.
Above 200 health
down.
and whatever melee damage is ascribed to that
so I've got
health
officers inbound.
or that level,
Good work.
which is 50 plus, you know, max. But yeah, so as you can see there, you know, level damage the same, melee damage not much different, and you know, although there is a difference, it's just doesn't feel huge to me. But yeah, you can see that, you know, definitely in the other, as I'm about to switch over, he's taking them out in fewer hits. But yeah, let's go ahead and swap back over here. Hang on one second, let me save this. Alright, let's switch back over to the other game save. But yeah, I'll go ahead and finish out leveling this this 350 here, and focus a little bit more on the combat. I'll make jibber jabber here and there. If there's anything else that seems to come to mind, I'll definitely mention it. But yeah, just to preserve the experience and this level of health and hit point damage. Let's continue. Another thing too, I have a hard time trying to figure out exactly how to like write out, or this whole leveling thing, because it's, like I said, it's interestingly displayed that you only see the results through your health, and of course you can monitor how many points you have to obtain to get to the next level, but you really don't see just what all that was to begin with and how it really translates. It's always a thing of feel. So notions of too much melee or too much health is kind of really up to the individual, like with most things in life. You just gotta keep going with it until you find out, and hopefully too much won't be a bad thing. But I have been saving my progress along the way in case too much is kind of too much. And another thing too, definitely since the last update 1.06, this here has been happening, whereas you fast travel or you stop after completing this Fisk mission here in Greenwich, the queue to start it won't show. So the best way, the fastest way is just to reload the checkpoint, and it pops up no problem. But it's a little bit of a little annoying because it's just an extra amount of time you have to take away from your gameplay. But yeah. So yeah, there it is. So yeah, like I said, let's go ahead and complete this level here. And with my tactic here, it's not the fastest, because what's interesting is that, matter of fact, I'll show you the absolute fastest just to show you real quick here, because and I'll go back to what I'm demonstrating as far as the melee. But it seems like the fastest way to go about things, of course, with your spider bro here, I keep in the rate of focus generates, and then also to put in your battle tech, and to go ahead and gadgets generate focus, and to go ahead and diversify your attacks with your drones, and of course with your spider bro just as wave 6 begins. Seems like no matter how much I've leveled up so far, this is still the fastest. He's still not, I'm still not at a point where I'm taking him out faster than what the drones will do or the spider bro will do. And they don't always kill the enemies, but they will weaken them to a point where if they haven't killed them, it's just pretty much one hit to take them out. Maybe when I get up to 200, he might be at some point where he's nearly as fast as this. But I mean, even still, with when I'm really in the zone and rocking out with my preferred method of things, which is just the web shooters and the impact web, I rely on the finishers, and I rely on the impact web instantly taking out enemies. So kind of like at my worst, I mean, I'm about 30-40 seconds or so beyond this speed time here. Sometimes even less than 30 seconds, more than this speed time of about less than 2 minutes. Anywhere from like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, depending on how this can go too. I mean, these times for the speed time can vary by about 15 seconds or so, depending on how the enemies are coming out, how efficiently you're doing this situation, or like what I'm doing right now, talking and I'm distracted. But yeah, so but yeah, to the point, it's like I said, my preferred method of classic Spider-Man more so is a lot more fun for me. And like I said, the impact web takes the enemies out instantly, unlike the spider drones, which will weaken the enemy, but won't always kill them. The spider bro is pretty good at taking them out, of course, but the impact web can typically, one-shot them into a wall, especially if you are aware of your attack and how it's doing so. And even if it doesn't, it'll knock them on the ground in a capacity where, you could just hit them once with the web shooters and they're pinned. But yeah, it's a whole lot less work individually for Spider-Man because he's not taking them out individually. He's,
and someone finally reported shots fired,
using the drones. And what's funny is the enemies will comment on the point. They'll be like, "Since when did he get a sidekick? And what kind of hero electrocutes people?" It's almost like a challenge to say, you don't need to use them things if you don't want to. But if your bag, rock out with it for sure. But yeah, I'll go ahead and switch back to my more melee-centric build. And what's cool is at any point in time I can decide to want to beat on them more so than not. And with this setup. But yeah, to me, having this battle focus here, to give yourself focus whenever you want is awesome, because focus also too allows you to deal out more damage. It allows you also to heal whenever you want. And I feel like it kind of mitigates aspects of damage if you have a focus bar, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And of course here I put in my web striker to generate. But yeah, to me, I'm far more keen to want to web shoot them and web sling them and do things with your web-based attacks more so than not when I'm using other gadgets. And like I said, just the web shooters is what's up, fully leveled up and all. And your impact web fully leveled up, or whatever level you have it at, and all skills if you can. But yeah, I'll go ahead and
you're just not very observant.
An example of how I grind the situation out with this build when I'm not so feeling like I want to press for time the situation.
More than one Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I startle you? Don't mess with the kid. Got eyes on Spider-Man. Uh-oh. More of them.
That we've busted 4 illegal firearms dealers within a 3-block radius of that site.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply. Hey! Shut your Dang, looks like they called their buddies. More guys. Welcome to the party. House rules. Leave your shoes at the door. Unless you're not wearing socks, in which case, buy some socks already.
Okey dope.
Anyone want to surrender? No?
He can't take us all.
Oh, yes, I can. Yach. Fuck up my combo. Yeah, there we go. 113 hit combo uninterrupted. Love it. But yeah, it's this is my preferred way to go about it.
Down,
like
Captain.
I say, I don't mind using
Actually,
the
web
finishes.
down.
Yeah, I love the
someone
cinematic.
finally reported shots fired, so I've got officers
But like I said, when I'm in the zone,
work.
that takes me about well, around 30 seconds, a little less, sometimes a little more, depending on how the enemies come out, more so than that, you know, speed method with the spider drones and the spider bro. Yeah, I like rocking out with this extra 150. It's to me exactly right, I would say, for a superior level enjoyment. But again, I'm planning for the ultimate level in the new game plus, so I'll definitely be pushing them up to 400, if not more. Hopefully they bring it out sooner than later. Definitely excited for the prospect, and pray they you know, they definitely allow us to transfer or carry over you know, our superior level things, because again, this is what makes my continued play that much more worthwhile, besides just, you know, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Besides living out the dream, so to speak, of playing Spider-Man. But yeah, on my I'm gonna put in some extra melee hits here to demonstrate, like, you know, how few hits he's able to take out these enemies.
Let's see what I can do to cut
and
down
then
this fly.
I think on my next one, I'm gonna go ahead and show you this little thing that I've been having fun doing during my grinds, where, you know, you can create artwork, in a manner of speaking, with Spider-Man, and the way he takes out the enemies. You can pin them, web them to walls, and web them to ceilings, and create an interesting artwork collage of them displayed across things. But yeah, I'll show you what area on this particular map seems to be friendly for having fun with the enemies, in a manner of speaking. I used to do things like that with Sleeping Dogs, because I love the combat system in it. And to me, it wasn't quite as rewarding as this, when you get extra melee and extra health. I mean, but it did give you extra money to spend. But yeah, it was kind of morbid the way I used to paint the walls with the enemies and Sleeping Dogs. But anyway, I got some good footage of that. But still, this is a lot of fun.
Anyone want to surrender? No?
So yeah, as you can see, I'm just taking them out without a care, you know, and it's lovely. So let me go ahead and switch back and get this done, and I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as this art thing. See ya.
Fire in the hole!
Fire in your
Here comes the pain.
Yep, it is. That's painful, buddy. The comments are a trip. I love them. What wave we in? Wave 6 now. I wasn't even paying attention. My bad. But yeah, you know, it's a good thing. I like having him where he's at. But like I said, overall, you know, doesn't really feel a whole lot different per
Place is locked down, Captain. Actually,
you know,
webbed down.
definitely still enjoyable at level 200, but
so I've got officers inbound.
I like the efficiency of this. And yeah, like I said, I'll show you this little area as a trip. But yeah, it's another way too. There's ways you can control your spawn points to a degree when playing the game. You know, it's very clever in the manner that they have the enemies never just spawning. They you know, they always come out of something, which is great. But you know, depending on your position, you know, enemies will spawn on the map, and definitely further away from you than your current position. So if I'm here, they're going to spawn at the other end, and of course, any gunmen or missile launching dudes, they're going to be strategically positioned, whereas they, excuse me, this is the wall I'm talking about. Right over here is where I like to start to decorate. But yeah, they're going to come out based on your position on the map. And again, the enemies that are going to be shooting you are going to be the ones, hang on, in the back in some kind of way, shape, or form, whereas, you know, it's harder to get to them, and they can start lining themselves up.
Spider-Man, turns out we've busted 4 illegal firearms dealers within a 3-block radius of that site.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down this fly.
lining themselves for the shot. And what's really cool is the enemies will reposition themselves and will chase you around the map no matter where you go. But yeah, as you can see, you can sort of control the spawn point of the situation in this map here in particular by just sort of staying over here, and they're going to come to you. The way you see me play out the missions on as far as the speed run is concerned, I have found to be the better end of things as far as trying to complete the run. It seems like trying to control the spawn point in other manners doesn't seem to really go over as well or as predictable. But yeah, it's
Oh, hey, more guys.
starting to get a nice little collage of enemies here. But
in which case, buy some socks already.
give me that.
We'll take you
Playing with that.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, you can decorate with the ceiling here with an uppercut and a shot with your impact web. You have a little ceiling decoration along the way, good for aesthetics.
He got it.
Ooh, hang on. Caught me with slipping there, buddy. Let me heal up. Yeah, you can wind up throwing them off too, which is
I'm in an ass-kicking mood.
quite fine. In here. I'm gonna put you, let's see, right there. Yeah, good spot. Let's see how we doing. And, you know, mix in a couple of finishers ever so often if you want to refresh your impact with for this hard endeavor.
No?
Baby.
You got baby. Is that your baby? Is that your baby? But yeah, it could be a little morbidly hilarious going through all this. Now it does seem to want to build a limit as to how many you can stick in one particular spot. So it's a little bit better if you can spread them around a little bit more. You can see some of them sort of dropped off. Oh, where'd he go? Ouch. But yeah, it's like, you know, being hit with a missile with this much health, you know, it's not so detrimental to the point. Or by a stun grenade, you know, you can still recover the same way, the same rate with your focus. You know, shielded guys take off a good amount of damage, as you can see. But yeah, me allowing a lot of this damage to come through, like I said, it's good demonstration to show you what the 350 health is going to provide if you work your way up there, or what it's really worth to you to do so. But yeah, as you can see, it takes longer, of course, to complete it, but it's fun to fuck around with it and just make some artwork.
Place is locked down, Captain.
But yeah, let's get back to my normal
And someone
pace of
finally
things.
reported shots fired, so I've got officers inbound. Good work.
Let's see where we are with completing this level. Let's see, we're at 19,219 out of 25,000, just up in the upper right hand corner. So, you know, it's about 6,000 to go. And, you know, if you've been noticing the XP that's been coming through, you know, you get, I think it's like 300 and something without the XP booster, that combat analyzer. I think it's like 400 and something with it. But altogether, you get 29,000. You know, along with the 2,500.
You earned it.
Yeah, 2,900, excuse me. Along with the 20. You know, what's included is that 2,500. Let me get my words right. That, you know, the mission does give you when completing it. But yeah, your timing, your position, all those things will change the variables as to how the enemies will respond, when they will respond, and what they'll do. There's some degree of predictability, but not, you know, it starts losing its nature of predictability the further you start going into combat. Yeah.
Uh-oh, more of them.
Turns out we busted 4 illegal firearm dealers within a 3-block radius of that site.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply. Dang, looks like they called their buddies.
But yeah, I mean, one of the strategies that I use is to, you know, you can time up every 2 takedowns if you have that level up in the skill. You know, as long as you're doing finishers, and just, you know, go right back to your, you know, impact web or whatever, because, you know, finishers help replenish gadgets even without the extra mod, which will give you bonus gadgets. You know, for finishers. Now sometimes when you shoot the enemies with an impact web or knock them in whatever way off this rooftop, sometimes they can land on the adjacent rooftops and still be alive, and you know, so sometimes you might have to hunt one down to finish the little mission / side mission, because as you can see, when I press in the R3 to, you know, you see the fact that it looks like a side mission as well as a main mission, because they're actually both, which allows you to get the XP that you do from this. But yeah, so sometimes you gotta chase them down a little bit. But the other thing too is that sometimes the spawn points can be a little funky in that, like, it seems to only happen to me when I use the Spider Bro and the gadgets. Somewhere along the way, I think it's the Spider Bro kind of comes out and it does a certain kind of damage a certain way, or maybe just the activation of it right at the spawn point, which sometimes I have inadvertently just happens when I'm
Place is locked down, Captain.
realizing wave 6 starts and I hit my power.
And someone finally
The
reported
enemies
shots
will get
fired, so I've
stuck
got officers
in the
inbound.
floor below
Good
where
work.
you are, and you know, of course, you got to use your spidey sense to sort of highlight the enemy through walls, and you'll see that. But if that happens, just hit reload checkpoint and it'll take you back to wave 4 of 6, and you can just carry on, which, you know, isn't too bad of an upset and doesn't happen, you know, all the time. But yeah, we'll see if this completes.
Trust me, it's less painful this way.
It ain't over. Check it out. Oh, I know. I remember when you were a punk kid and the boss used to hand him his ass regular.
That's got to be one of the funniest lines in the game. He's like, I remember when he was a punk kid and the boss used to hand him his ass on a regular. Yeah, this is so embarrassing. But yeah, Fisk is mean, boy, and I'm telling you, when it comes to that ultimate level that they're coming out, I got a feeling Fisk and his boys in that office are going to be serving it to you. Because to me, in my opinion, that's got to be one of the toughest fights. Because, you know, the way they start you out with the game on, you know, just 100 health, regardless of what level of difficulty you start at. Oh, they be hit, they lay into something fierce. That's just my opinion. Better be on it. But yeah, I think this might be my last one with this as far as leveling up this
Gun running. Let's see what I can do
level.
to cut down the supply.
So I'll try to add in a few more melee hits. Oops. Besides finishers, like I just accidentally got to have it.
Dang, looks like they called their buddies.
Yeah, I use the finishers like I just did again, and I'm doing here on purpose. Because a lot of times I use the finisher actually as a counter to a situation. Like sometimes I'll jump in on something, or, you know, because I'm monitoring where the enemies are, you know, by pressing in the L3 every so often and hitting my spidey sense, I use the moments of the finishers a lot of times to negotiate my environment and my next move, as well as queuing up whatever gadget or whatever that I'd like to use next. So a lot of times in the midst of just scrapping like this, I have to purposely not do that.
Here comes the pain.
Oh, anyone want to surrender? No?
Yeah, as you can see, even though I'm taking out the enemies, whoops, these guys, in a couple of hits, I can still string my movements together and redirect my attacks without much of an issue. And if the game seems to hold in its memory you have a field of range or a field of view to your targeting system, and within that field of view or range, you know, the targeting system will seem to prioritize the closest enemy, and oftentimes the lethal of threats. Like, for example, if I wanted to grab that missile with the L1 R1 button as it went by, my targeting system would prioritize that over something else. And like, if I put in that field of view that enemy behind me as far as my target before I turn my camera around, it will still remember where that enemy is for a limited amount of time, and you can direct your attack in what you would think would be a blind spot. But there's a leeway of time, Captain, where you can still target an enemy that's not that you're not facing.
Reported shots fired, so I've got officers inbound. Good work.
Let's see where we are here. Yeah, that did it. Like I said, he's at should be 151% extra melee and 351 health. And but yeah, I'll let this one close it out. Thank you for those that joined, and hope some, you know, my commentary helps those in the future that, you know, want to see what it's like to have this much melee and this much health.
Don't mind me.
And
Can't believe Spider-Man.
we'll do again.
Oh, I know. But I remember when he was a punk. Boss used to hand his ass on the regular. There you are. Maybe he did. Lenny says there's more than one Spider.
Why'd you set this one out?
Eyes on Spider-Man. Send her to school. Don't mess with the Kingpin. Can't live.
Uh-oh. More of them.
Gonna teach you respect.
Spider-Man, turns out we busted 4 illegal firearms dealers within a 3-block radius of that site.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply.
I can't reach him.
Dang, looks like they called their buddies. Oh, hey, more guys. Welcome to the party. House rules. Leave your shoes at the door. Unless you're not wearing socks, in which case, buy some socks already.
Back away from him. Got lucky.
Anyone want to surrender? No?
And I don't know, it might just be me, but it does seem, I can add one last note, is that that's queuing in, hitting the R3 button to activate your Spidey sense. I feel like it helps your targeting system. It helps, yeah, but it definitely helps as far as my visual awareness of the enemies, for sure, on the mini map as well as, you know, visually.
Open wide. You're
Oh my God. So yeah, it's, you know, as you can see with certain enemies at certain times, they'll take more than just 2 or 3 hits to take them out even at this level. That's the reason why I know
Place is locked down,
going
Captain.
up to 400 won't
Actually,
be.
webbed down.
I won't be crying about
And
the extra
someone
melee
finally
damage.
reported shots fired, so I've got officers inbound. Good work.
But yeah, thanks again, everyone, and hope it helps and enjoy for sure. It was a lot to enjoy.